Hello my friends, thanks for stopping by. I hope you all having a great day. Today I am recreating the look that I wore in my review video for the Mario palette. So many of you requested it, so that's what I did. So if you like what you see, stick around. Okay, so you're gonna miss the first step, which was me putting the primer on. My camera shut off and I don't know why. Anyway, then it wouldn't focus. Okay, so my tape is on. My Benefit primer is on, so now I'm going to go in with my LaPrairie powder. I've been experimenting with this powder, and I really don't want to like this powder because it's very expensive, but you do get a boatload of it. All right, so I'm going to go in with an Anastasia brush. I'm going to take a little bit of that powder on the brush, not much, just a little bit. And I just want to make sure there's no creases, and I'm just going to put a little bit of powder over that, just to give myself a smoother canvas to work with. Okay, so I'm using the Mario palette, and this is going to be the same look that I had on the other day in a video. People really liked it, so I'm just going to do the exact same thing, and then I will play with this palette more in the future. Okay, so I'm going to take a big flat brush. This is one of my favorites by MAC. The number on it is 227, and I'm going to go in and I'm going to take some of the Hollywood, which is the very first color, and I'm just going to tap my brush into this because these are they kick up a whole lot of powder and you really don't need a lot. So I'm going to do just a little bit on the brush, and then I'm actually going to tap it right back into that color, okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tap that all over my lid. And yes, this is a satin finish, but it is so beautiful, and remember, we are going to work with some matte colors. Okay, so the next color we're going to go in with is Isabel, and this is the peachier tone, and I'm going to take a 217, but here's the thing with these shadows. You just need to lightly touch your brush in on them. Don't really go in and rub, just tap your brush, then tap it off slightly, and we're just going to work in small little strokes. And of course this is going to be our crease color, our transition color. So I'm just going to lean my head slightly back, and I'm going to start in where my crease is. Now I lift it up a little bit higher, and we're just going to work very slowly with small little strokes just to apply the color. And remember, go in with less and build in layers. I'm looking, the mirror is quite a distance from me, so I'm hoping that I'll be able to see the whole tutorial. Alright, so we're going to go ahead with more of that same color. We're just building up lightly. Turn the 217 and just go in and do light little sweeps. Going out and over the tape. And here is where I start to build up, just on the outer part of my eye. A little more, and I'm going to go on the outer part now, staying in the crease area, and then just sweeping more into the inner eye, and then we're going to just sweep out and up. I'm not going really high, and I'm trying to stay on a nice little angle. Even though you have the tape there as your guideline, you still want to you know, follow the shape that you want. You don't want to just say, oh, the tape's going to give me everything I need. Okay, so I'm trying to work it so that this almost comes into a little bit of a V. It lifts up on the corner, and then I go back down and into the crease area. Okay? All right, so we have laid down the Isabel. So now I'm going to go in with a fluffy, because you see it's a little wonky over here. I'm going to take a fluffy and I'm going to start to just soften the top line. Okay, so we have softened the line. Now remember, when I take the tape off, it'll look totally different because my eyes will then be normal. All right, so we have laid down the base of the Isabel. Now we're going to go in with Violetta, and this is where I suggest taking a smaller brush to work with. if you are not really steady with your hand. So I'm going to use a Morphe 514. It's a pretty narrow brush, and I'm just going to touch in to the Violetta. Very small amount of this. Now, the tape is going to be your guide here, but you still want to work in that direction. So I'm working as if I am placing it in a V in the outer corner. And then I'm going to run it through my crease just on the outer part of the eye. I don't want to crowd the eye with darkness. I want the darkness to be really accentuated on the outer part of the eye. And notice I'm not taking this way up. I'm staying right in the outer lash line, and then I'm taking it right into the crease, outer crease, and that is where my V is staying, but I'm allowing the tape to be my guide. Okay? And we're going to go in and take a little bit more of that Violetta. Just touch the brush lightly, and we're just going to build that up. And you don't want to go too close to the middle. You want this outer color to really be in the outer V, and that is it. And then we're just, when we do our blending, it will then filter in nicely. Okay? So that's what we're looking at so far. I'm going to do the other eye. Okay, so now I have just Violetta in the outer V, and only the outer V. All right, so I'm going to take this matte brush. I don't know the number on it because it has worn off, but it's a very flat brush. It just looks like that, very flat. And I'm going to take that one to apply the Kim. Now the Kim is a beautiful, oh, it's a coppery, very light coppery bronze. Oh, it's just a beautiful color. I'm going to tap that brush in, okay? I'm not rubbing, I'm just tapping, and you can see a lot of product is picking up. So I'm going to tap that off slightly, and I'm going to place it all on my inner lid. I'm not going over the brown. I'm stopping just before I get there because we're going to blend that. So I'm taking it right into the eyeball socket and mid outer, but I'm not going totally out. All right, so both eyes have the Kim on them. So I'm going to go in with a nice fluffy brush, and I'm just going to use the Morphe 511 fluffy brush, and I'm just going to lightly hold that brush way down at the end. I'm going to lightly just soften the line, and then I'm going to blend this line here, the darkness to the Kim, so the Violetta, and we're just going to soften that line so you really don't even see where it transitions. Same on this side. So now we've got the foundation of the eyes down, so we can gently take off the tape. And again, you will see a very harsh line on the side, but don't let that worry you at all, because that's your guideline now, and we'll work from that. And if you put the tape on your hand first before you apply it, you'll take away most of the stickiness, and it won't pull on the eye area as much as most think it does. I'm worried about me blurring out. Something's wrong with my camera, so if this video is not perfect, that's why. All right, so let's get moving on. Now, I'm just going to take a wipe, and I'm going to clean up underneath my eye. And you just need to do this gently. You don't really need to go crazy. I'm going in and I'm just wiping off any fallout, not disturbing my line. Because there's nothing worse than having a dirty under eye look because you're putting your concealer over shadow. So I'm just taking all that excess off. And okay, I can see where my tape was a little uneven, but don't worry, we can fix that in the end. You got to try to get your tape as even as you possibly can, but sometimes it's not so possible. Okay, under the eye, Smashbox Primer. I do like to use a primer under my eyes, especially if I've done a little cleaning up. I want to put a little bit of primer on. So the Smashbox Photo Finish I like. There's quite a few that I like, but it just gives a nice little finish underneath the eyes and helps to hold everything in place. Now take it all the way up, but don't disturb that line. I'm also, while I'm priming, I'm going to use the Lancome La Base Pore Eraser, and I'm just going to use this in my T-zone area. I just take a big blob of it like this, and I rub it together in the top of my fingers. I pat it on my nose, there, and I just apply it to the T-zone where my pores are changing on me with this lovely thing called age. Is the Becca Backlight Primer. I'm just using 1 squirt of it. I like this primer a lot. I have a lot of primers, but I've decided I've got to use some of them up. Then I just pat this on most of my face, sweeping lightly over where I had the pore one. It doesn't disturb it at all. This is just to give a nice little radiance glow. I like it, okay? All right, so now I am going to go in with my Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. I'm just putting a squirt and maybe an extra little squirt, not two full ones. It's too much foundation. Then I'm going to go ahead and just press this all over. I love my Luminous Silk by Armani. And I'm just going to use my hands for everything today to show you that it can be done. All right, so go up. Make sure you have it all nicely massaged in. Make sure you get around the chin. I go right over my lips, down my nose. I don't really put it underneath my eyes because I will be putting corrector and concealer on. Pat it in. And that is all you need to do for that. Okay, next step is going to be my corrector. I like the Urban Decay Naked Skin Peach. I'm just going to apply it right here in the corner. And then right here where I have a lot of bluing, where I almost look bruised all the time. I have really green veins through here, and if I don't put a corrector on, I look like somebody punched me in the eye most of the time. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, blend that down. Notice I pull it down into where my ridge is for my puffiness. I was a bad girl yesterday with too much salt. And then I'm just going to lightly touch it. Notice I'm not disturbing that line. I'm going to take it right up because I blew all the way through there. And then focusing most of it on that ridge, but then I do take whatever's left over and I just put a light touch of it to camouflage out the darkness. I don't think, I think correctors and concealers confuse people. A concealer is doing just a concealer, but if you're somebody who has a lot of darkness, blueness, greenish around your eyes, a corrector is the way for you to go, but you really need to use a concealer with it, especially if it's like a peach tone like this. And you know, whatever your reasons are that you're trying to hide, they make different colors. So you know, if you're, in my case, I always need a peach, but they make pinks, they make lavenders. Some people will call it salmon instead of peach. I really went up a little high on this side, but don't worry, I will make them even. It doesn't even bother me. Okay, so now Urban Decay Naked Skin. I love this. So now I'm going to put a streak and a streak. I'm going to go in with my Morphe E8 brush. Love this brush for concealer, especially this concealer. And I'm just going to tap now. I'm going to tap it. I stay in a little bit of a V, but I'm not getting crazy and dragging it all around and putting highlight here or here. It's just too much on my face. I can't do all that. So I just stick with the basics. I mean, I love the look of all of that, but it's not possible when you have a face full of wrinkles. And you just want to go right up underneath that line, tap, tap, tap. Then I take my finger and I go ahead and I tap that out. Okay? Can you see? This one I went a little bit like this, and this one I raised up a little bit, so that's where I will join them together. It happens. You can't get the tape perfect. Now I'm going to take a beauty blender, and I've loaded it up with some of my LaPrairie powder. I have been trying the LaPrairie powder underneath my eyes, and I don't want to like it at all, but it's looking pretty darn good. All right, so gonna just touch that underneath the eye all the way where you put concealer. Just pack it on. Same thing on the other eye. That I'm baking right now, and we're using the Mario palette because I read it. I've read several interviews with him, and he's actually the one who created the baking, and everybody started following him, and then of course it hit YouTube, and it's all due to him. He's the one who created that little thing. Now, if somebody did it before him, I don't know, but he takes the credit for, he calls it sanding. He doesn't call it baking. All right, so now since we're doing our powder, I'm going to take my Wayne Goss, very nice brush, and I'm going to put some of the powder on it, the LaPrairie powder, and I'm going to just go ahead and pat it all over my face. I always pat it on first, over my nose. This smells really nice. I don't know, I think it will be okay for me to put some more of that, replace my Le Mer with this, because it's very nice. All right, so then after I've patted it on, I just go and I sweep around, make sure that I have it all off. Now here, I think is an important thing, and I also read this in the article with Mario, and he says the mistake that people make with the baking is they leave it on too long, and then they change the color of their concealer, and that's why it doesn't work for them. So don't leave the powder on too long. Now, I'm talking to you right here. I'm going to go ahead and sweep, because it's already set in. It doesn't take that long. So I'm going to sweep it right off so that it doesn't change the color of my concealer. Okay? All right, so now I'm looking pretty ghastly white. And that's just how it is. So now I am going to go ahead and I'm going to put some color on my face right now. So I'm going to use the Blush All Day by MAC. And I'm just going to grab this. You know, sometimes I just grab brushes to show you that you don't need to have a blush brush if you don't like using one. And this is Real Techniques Fiber Duo Brush. I like to work with a fiber brush when I'm using blush, and I just tap it in, and then I'm going to just tap this along my face here, and same method. I build it up, build it up, build it up until I get it to where I want it. And I don't like a whole lot of blush. Okay, so there we go. And I just keep tapping. I'm going to go in with Anastasia, and this is her Fawn Contour. I'm doing it backwards, but it doesn't really matter. And I'm going to take the, let me see what I have here. What is this? I'm going to take a different Morphe E8 brush. I'm going to tap it into the Fawn, tap it off, and right in the hollow of my cheek, I'm going to go ahead and place that. Okay, right there, right there. And I'm just going to go into the Fawn, same thing I used for my contour, and I'm just going to lightly do a little bit of contouring up here because it just helps to bring everything together. This is not a Nars brush. This is a Japanesque, and it looks just like the Nars brush. It's very soft. I mean, synthetic, but it's soft. Okay, so the camera just keeps cutting off on me, so I'm very sorry about the choppiness of this video, but I want to get it done. All right, so as I was saying, this is a Japanesque brush, and I'm just going to go ahead and do a little contouring under the jawline, and I just go lightly down the neck. Okay, so that is that. If we need more blush, we can always come back to it, but for now, I'm okay. All right, so let's finish underneath the eye. Now here you want to take a small flat brush or something that you can control the amount you're putting on. You can use a very small pointed dome brush, or you can go ahead and use something that is very flat and dense. Or you can even, if you're really good and you want to smudge it out good, you can use a dome type of brush. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use a Sephora, and this is called the Pro Smoky Liner. And I'm going to take some of the Isabel on the tip of that brush, and then I'm going to go ahead and line underneath the eye. Now I have to be very careful here not to kick up too much dust because it'll go right into my contact. Matter of fact, let me switch to a flatter brush to apply it, and then I'll go in and smudge it. Okay, so I'm just going to apply that color under my whole eye area, and then I'm sweeping it up to the side. Now this is where you get the opportunity to soften that line. We're sweeping up, staying in the same shape. Gonna do the other eye. Now this one I'm gonna have to fudge a little bit more because I went a little lower on this side, so I'm gonna have to extend this out a little bit, and then we'll blend it in. I angled that one up too high, okay? Which, if you like it that high, go right ahead. But for me, I like it a little bit lower because I like to join the bottom of the shadows to the top. Okay. Now I'll take a clean brush, and we can use the little dome one, and I'm just going to smoke that out a little bit. I like to bring that down a little bit. Smudge it and smoke it. Okay, just like that. Now I'm going to go in with the Violetta and that same small brush, and I'm going to work the corner. I have to use a mirror for this, my friends. I'm going to just work this up and join it into that line, not dragging any of it down. I'm keeping everything working up into that line. And you can intensify as much as you want here, no matter how much color you like. We're going to blend all of this down again, so don't worry about it. And just keep it going up, 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 okay? Same thing on the other eye. Okay, so now I have the bottom applied. So now I'm just going to take my mirror and I'm going to really just clean up around here. Now sweep and just soften it. Don't go really hard. You're just softening and joining everything together right on the outer part of the eye. You don't want to work down, you want to work up. So I'm just blending this here, smoothing it out a little bit more. That gives me a nice lift to my eye. And then I'm going to go ahead and just soften underneath the eye. Okay, so that is what we have right now. As soon as they put the eyebrows on, it'll be better too. All right, so now I'm going to take a dome brush. This is something I don't do too often, but with this palette I've been playing, so I did. I'm going to take some of the Hollywood, that's the first color we used, and I'm just going to touch my inner eye with a little bit of that, just to brighten that area up slightly, because we have the eyes so smoky. But here's the thing with me in this, I like to really blend it in. So then I take another small little brush and I'm just going to blend that color down. I don't like to see a big chunk of highlight in there, just a little bit, okay? All right, for the next step, I've done all my blending, so the next step I'm gonna add, I just bought this. It's the NYX No Filter powder. I'm just gonna take that brush that I used and I'm gonna tap a little bit of it in, and this is kind of what I'm using as an extra little highlight because it has a little bit of shimmer. I'm just gonna, not shimmer, satin. Okay, I don't want to scare anybody away. This is really kind of nice, and I'm just going to do a little bit there just to brighten it up a little bit. So I put my eyebrows on because I can't do it on camera, so I just went ahead and did that. So I'm going to go ahead and do my lips, and I am going to use the Mercier Redwood. I really like this with the Amber Gloss by Anastasia. So I'm going to go ahead. I stay right on the edge. All right, so I have put the lip liner, I smudged it on my whole mouth because I feel that this lip gloss is a little bit too light for me without it. plus I get better staying power. So this in the new fall Anastasia Beverly Hills collection. So I'm just going to apply it on. There it is. I apply to the bottom lip first and then touch my lips together, and then I use just the tip of this one to kind of guide me. These are very concentrated, very wet lip glosses, so you need a little help. You can't just put it on like the other, well, not for me. When I do it like that, it's all over the place. Okay, so we are finally winding down here. I'm going to go ahead and put my mascara on, and then I'll be back. I do apologize. This is going to be very choppy, this one, because the camera just keeps shutting off. I don't know if when I made the adjustments, the shutter's not closing for some reason. I have to take the battery out and put it back in. So if any of you are an expert on the Canon T5i, let me know if I've done something wrong, because I researched it on YouTube and I couldn't find anything. Okay, so I will be right back with my mascara on. All right, I'm back with the finished look. I have taken my hair out of the rollers, obviously, and a tutorial will follow. Off camera I did my mascara, and I also added the Chanel waterproof eyeliner to the tight line in Agape, just to give a little more dramatic, sultry look. And the mascara was the Revitalash Volumizing Mascara in Raven. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks for stopping by. Don't forget, subscribe. We're anti-aging here. Be happy, healthy, beautiful, and most of all, my friends, lovable. I love you all. Bisous.